Hello! I am Trooper SJP, and this is the Academic Foxhole. Hi, everybody. How are you doing? What's new? What's exciting? What is happening? Oops, that was a pen. If you heard a sound, that was a pen on the desk. What is happening? Hi, everyone. Falcon of Venom and Barontor and PH. Iffy. Hey, Iffy. I haven't seen you in a while. I've missed you. Levi. Hey, everyone. Oh, you had an interview this morning, Falcon. What was the interview for, and how did you feel about it? Did you feel good? What happened? Give more details. Ooh, I really enjoy peanut M&Ms. I also like almond M&Ms, but I never get them. Whenever I do get them, I think, that was delicious. But it rarely happens. PH, you have this cool interview thing in a little over an hour? How strange. What might that be? Try hard dream. Well, after using Twitch Switch for some time now, I can say that 21% of streams are not English, and 22% of streams shouldn't be in the just chatting category. Just a little information if someone wanted to know. Now moving on. Well, what? Try hard dream. I have a question for you before you go. Since you just dropped some statistics in the chat, if you're still here, the 22% of the streams that shouldn't be in the just chatting category, what category should they be in? This is what hello, Kalan. So right, if 22%, that's quite a lot, should not be in the just chatting category, what category should they be in? But I somehow imagine Try Hard Dream just ran through with a post and didn't stick around for like follow-up, which makes me sad because I had follow-up. That's what I want to know. Oh wait, Falcon says that if you're offered the job, you're not going to take it. Why not? Tell me. Oh, hey, you're still here. Well, people that mess that up are people that mainly play LOL and Fortnite. Oh, well, that's why. That's really interesting, Tryhard. So what you're trying to tell, so you're saying that there are a bunch of League of Legends and Fortnite folks who are playing League of Legends and Fortnite, but under just chatting? That's odd. You'd think they would have more discoverability under League of Legends and Fortnite, right? I mean, like that's weird. Well, here's what's interesting though. Reading aloud is a category that you can use under just chatting. So that's actually that's like a subcategory. Ooh, so loud. My house, come on to my house, I'm gonna give you candy. Come on to my house, I'm gonna give you everything. Thank you for the host, Kulan. Thank you very much. It is much appreciated. Somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. Whoa, I always feel that somebody's watching me. Tell me, is it just a dream? Thank you for the follow, Try Hard Dream. It is much appreciated. Thank you so much. Reading books with interruptions isn't a category though, and that is true. That is true. Oh, you didn't like the company. Oh, so you went and you did that interview and you're like, bad vibe. Good that you should listen to yourself, even if they're like, oh, we'll give you all the money. If you're like, but you were all creepy, you know, listen to your guts on that one. That's what my mother always told me. Oh, Barontor says we have to know what Grace Jones is saying on your shirt. So my shirt says, I might look like I'm listening to you, but in my head, I'm listening to Grace Jones. And you know, in case people are wondering, in my head, I'm listening to, oh, thank you, Anonymous Cheerer, for those bits. This stream is so wholesome. Oh, try hard. It gets, we're reading a book today. We're doing a bunch of things today. But first, I have to sing We're in the Money, because an anonymous cheerer donated bits. And so for those bits, I'm going to sing We're in the Money, as sung by Ginger Rogers in the film Gold Diggers of 1933 in Pig Latin. And then I'll tell you what we're doing today. So, Earway and hey, the anime. Earway and hey, the anime. Eve way at Caillie out way of way up way it wakes to ute at Caillie on way oh. Earway and hey, the anime. Either I skays or ani say. Oh man, the adiation pray, ooey are ooh, threvi was the undeang reo. Ewe ebony eat red leans lay, have wed brands lay ute day. And when we see the Anleod will look lay at the agar and the IA. We're in the money, we're in the money. We've got a lot of what it takes to get along. Thank you, Anonymous Cheer, for those bits. They all go and help towards props and the whatnot for RPGs, and so it is much appreciated. It is much appreciated. What we learned: statistics are note-taking, and note-taking are magic. No, seriously, they're magic. We should burn all the witches who perform such foul sorcery at the stakes. We are very wholesome that way. Oh, Pig Latin is hard. I have been practicing that song for ages to get it down, and there's still like a little bump in there that I've got to get out. Hey, Sea Spider, how was the La La Land trip? So those of you who don't know, I went to Los Angeles this last weekend to go to be interviewed for a documentary, and I flew out. My flight was at 8 in the morning on Sunday, so I had to wake up early. And then I flew out. I got there Sunday. I did the interview for like 9 hours on Monday. I was on set from like 10 in the morning to 7 o'clock at night. And then I had a flight Tuesday morning at 6 a.m., which is an inappropriate time for a flight because you have to wake up at the times when I normally go to sleep. But it was a good trip. One of the best parts of the trip. The best. So you're like, what did you do in Los Angeles? It was great. I'll tell you, I had donuts, because you're not gonna. The donuts in California, you know, the kind of donuts you get at some kind of crappy corner donut shop. They're just like made by some mom and pop, and they're the best donuts ever. So I had like a maple donut, and I had an old fashioned glazed donut, and like those two donuts were just like worth the entire trip. It was so delicious. I almost died. It was like, oh. So good. It was so good. Now I want some more of those donuts. This is why my life is hard. Javai says, "Don't burn the witches. They probably know magic to control fire, and will just turn the fire on you instead. The fire isn't your friend." This is true. You're like, "We'll burn the witch," and they're like, "Oh no." Whoosh. And they just throw that fire right back at you. So what are we doing today? So today, I want to tell you, just so it's announced, today we're going to be reading more of Atlanta Nights, which is the really terrible novel that was written to be terrible on purpose. We'll be reading chapter 12, again, the second chapter 12, because there's more than one chapter 12, the second chapter 12, and we'll see how far we get. But then at 7:30, I don't know why I made robot gestures for that. But at 7:30, we're going to be interviewing Paladin Hulk. Will be our guest for Gamer Stories today, which is very excited because I've got questions for our resident famous mod and also charity streamer and gamer and all of that business. I've got some questions, and also giant. Paladin Hulk is also a giant person, and so I have questions about it. About height. Like, did you drink a lot of milk as a child? I don't know. No, those are not my questions. And I wanted to say, next week, our guest for Gamer Stories is Rocket Fox, who you might remember as being in our wonderful Night Witches campaign from the last season. So, I don't know if I want to know PH's face. Yeah, you know, see, Spider, once you see his face, you're like, who does he look like? Does he look like Elvis? Does he look like Tab Hunter? Like, you're like imagining the name game. Come on, everybody. I said, now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name, I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F or an M will appear. And then I say bo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fan, or info. And then I say the name again with an F, very plain, then a fee, fi, and a mo. And then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. A frithial, bo, befrithial, banana, fanafo, frithial, fee, fi, mo, mafrithial, a frithial. So I just want to say, a frithial is a hard one because the rhythm of it is a little bit tricky, but I got it. And so I want to thank you, Iffy, so much for that sub. That is awesome. It is much appreciated. If you all don't know a frithial is an amazing artist and graphic designer who's done overlays and amazingness, and I am just so deeply impressed by all of his artwork. So I just want to give, shout out to Iffy. That's all. And yeah, oh yeah, that's right. PH cannot wear armor in this heat because it is too darn hot for armor, is all I'm saying. Hello, Mr. Mr. Awful McPerson. No, my beard is indeed blue. You can see it, like, there's a little bit of a white up here, right? But my beard and mustache, ooh, I should shave. My beard and mustache are indeed blue because I just started dyeing my beard blue last summer, and then I really liked it, and I was like, this is cool. And I kind of like didn't do it, but then I did again. And I loved it. Flail snail. Oh, almost. Okay, so I have tips on this, Mr. Awful McPerson, about dyeing your beard, since I've done it myself now twice. I went to the salon to get it done at first. I was like, I should go get it done professionally. And then I was like, I don't want to pay professional prices to get my beard done because it's just my beard. So I've done it myself twice now. And there are tips that I have. Oh, yes, you should look. Oh, yes. I know, Iffy has not streamed in a while. Iffy. Just dip your chin in molten gold. So I used Manic Panic dye. I put the dye on, and then, so here's the thing. So I put the dye on. Now I went a little bit too close to my skin, so I was a little bit like, but it was fine. I just lost a layer of skin. It was fine. But what you do, here's how you do it. Put all the, put on the mustache, put it on the beard, put all the bleach, put the bleach on, right? And then take they've got those, like, when you buy like the Manic Panic bleach set, they come with a little cap that you put on your head to help it process. So you put all the bleach on, and then you wear the hat on your face. So like you get the little hat thing, and then you hook it on your ears, and you put it over your face, and then make sure that your nose is on the outside of the little, so you're kind of wearing it like a face mask, but not over your nose, and then you just, so that'll bake and that'll be fine. And then you bleach it. And here's the tip that I have for you that was like a really important tip for me, because the last time I did this myself, I was bleeding. The color bled like a lot. It was just like blue everywhere. I was getting blue on my collar, and that was hey, Anarch W was terrible. So what I did was I didn't want to reuse the little plastic cap, but I got like a plastic bag, like a grocery bag, like a really small one. And then after I put the dye on, face, mustache, then I put the plastic bag, the little plastic grocery bag, over my face, and I hooked the handles, hooked on my ears, put it on my face, and then I just sort of like, tightened it around my face, not covering my nose, so that it would like heat up the dye. And since I did that, it has not bled. So, and then of course, here's the other thing you have to do. After you bleach and dye your beard, make sure you can use conditioner on your beard every day for at least a week to sort of help set the dye in your beard and mustache. These are the tips that I have come to after doing this a couple of times, and this second time going a lot better. Come on to my house, come on. Come on to my house, I'm gonna give you candy. Come on to my house, I'm gonna give you everything. Also, I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille. This is... Iffy, I hope you get to stream again someday, because I enjoyed watching you draw. Kulan says, I need a second PC setup, and then I can stream some old games repo. Ooh, old games. Yes. No skin off your chin. Well, a little bit. It was just a little bit. Oh, yeah, don't drink the bleach. That's what got people at Heather's. And what do you... So for your VTM game, Anarch Dovey, you're excited for it. Are you GMing or playing? If you're playing, who is your character? If you're GMing, what is your, like, where are you setting it? What are you excited about? Mr. Awful McPerson says, sadly, locally sold dye companies don't add caps. Gotta find alternatives. Yeah, I will tell you, the cap, or at least like a grocery bag, is like the key. I would go with the little cap thing. That's the way to go, because then you can like seal off so that you don't have those bleach fumes going up your nose. Because who wants that? Nobody. Maybe. First off, Grinny, I see you. I notice you. I honor you. Because, Grinny, you are awesome, and you're like a really great and wonderful presence, and also you do butt touches, and also you like eyeballs in a jar. So, like, who doesn't love the Grinny? This is all. I don't have the space for a second monitor right now, though. Reading chat would be... So, you know what I did? What I did was I currently have 3 monitors. I only had 2, but I have 3 now because I need 3 for RPG streaming. But I got one of those little stands where you can sort of stack the 2 monitors on top of each other. So maybe if you need 2 monitors, you could do that. You could get one of those vertical stands, because I have like a little vertical stand here. So, right, if I'm doing RPGs, I'll have Zoom on the bottom monitor, and then I'll have Roll20 on the top monitor, and those are the 2 things I need to capture. And the reason why is because I'm on a Mac and I have to do screen capture rather than window capture, so I can't have things overlapping, and it cannot be on my main monitor, which is like a 4K or a 5K or whatever. But that's like way too dense for the screen capture. It's like too much information, and the computer will stutter, and it's really bad. So I put them on the external monitors that are like 1080, and everything is fine. So it's good. Also, Grace Jones is awesome. I'm playing. She's called Nora, and she's Tremere of House Karna and a spy for the Anarchs. Oh, that sounds awesome. I am playing a Tremere in Jer's vampire campaign, although we have not yet set up our next sort of season of that because everybody's crazy busy. But right, so. Yes, and Krellin points out consensual butt touches. No, don't say me it's date night. I'm supposed to be watching The Flash, but also I love you. Grinny, I love you too. So, like, it's a mutual love is what's happening. She acts like a cold, tough bitch, but she has a moral spark that gets her often. Oh, my Tremere character seems like a kindly, sweet old lady who cares about everyone, but she's not. I mean, she is an old lady, but she does not care about other people. She doesn't care about, like, she seems like the nicest, warmest, sweetest person. Like, she will knit, and you know, it's like she's so nice, but she is not nice. She's kind of an evil vampire, but it's cool. It's fine. Trooper, you're still having this show next week. When do you head out to Gen Con? Today is Wednesday. Is that true? It is Wednesday. Actually, I don't think I have the show. We don't have the show next week. This is true. Thank you for reminding me, Barantor. Next, I'll be at Gen Con next week, and I'm flying out on Wednesday, so I will not be streaming. I will be streaming this week. Like, I've got this stream today. I've got my Night in the Woods stream on Thursday, Ghosts of Salt Marsh, One Hopes on Friday, and then Horizon Zero Dawn on Saturday. But next week, there'll be no streams at all next week. We'll see about that. I mean, none of my official streams will be happening next week because I'll be at Gen Con the entire time, where I'll be GMing Clockwork Dominion and also playing Arkham Horror, the card game, and also playing the Pathfinder game and Also, there's going to be a James Bond card game that I'm going to be playing. I don't know what else is going on. So Grinny's like, my character is so unsettling. She is unsettling because she's so nice. Everyone is crazy busy equals trooper. Share. Vampire. Grinny is also in the game, and she plays a Toreador, and she's amazing, and she's wonderful. And I also really appreciate Jer's GMing as well. The point of vampires is that in order to survive, they have no choice but be evil monsters. Oh yeah, and Flora has embraced that. She's okay. She's like whatever, but she feels like it's important to seem like a nice person. Yes, Rocket Fox is in 2 weeks. So this next week we have no streams. Although maybe if I can, I will try to stream from. Here's the thing. Last year I said maybe I will stream from Gen Con, and I said I really meant to do that. I really wanted to stream from Gen Con, and I really would like to stream from Gen Con, but here's the problem. There are a lot of people at Gen Con, and all of them are trying to get onto the internet through their cell tower at the same time. And so cell service is usually really, really bad at Gen Con because the cell towers are basically super overwhelmed with all the people being on. So usually it's not really doable to stream through your cell provider at Gen Con. So, I mean, if I can get any kind of decent signal, I'll try to pop in and say hi to everybody so you can see stuff, but it is questionable if that will happen. It is questionable. So Anarch W says, Nora is not better than any other vampire. She does what needs to be done, but she has a soft spot for cripples, bastards, and the broken. My character has a soft spot for having people think that she's sweet and innocent and harmless, and then not be. That's right. Only Lauren can stream from Gen Con this year. Actually, I'm sure that they have some kind of really intense system set up so that they're... I think they've got some like really intense, exciting. Let me tell you how bad it is. Right, the internet is so bad at Gen Con that sometimes when you message people, like text message people, it takes forever to get through. Like even the text messages are super, super slow, and you don't even know if they're gonna really make it. Like it's bad, right? Like the cell service cell data is bad at Gen Con, is all I'm saying. I'm away for 2 weeks from Monday, so I'd miss out anyway. Well, see, that's why I'm going to Gen Cons, because I don't want you to miss out stuff. So that's why. Kulan, I'm doing it for you. Levi says the official Gen Con stuff has troubles with streaming normally. I think that, yeah. Listen, I just want you to hug Claudia and Marcus and Lauren, Steph, and Anna. I don't even think all of them are going to Gen Con. Let's see, hold on. So Claudia and Marcus are going, right? Lauren and Steph are going. Is Anna going to Gen Con this year? Is she going to Gen Con this year? I thought that she wasn't, but maybe she is. No, I didn't think she was going. I didn't think she was. That would have surprised me. Listen, says Grinny, I just like playing a ridiculous rich vampire artist, and you play her very, very well. That sounds like Mobile Lines on New Year's. Yeah, it's really, I mean, I don't know what else. I do it for you, Kulan. I will hug everyone who is going. I will hug them, and I will see if I can find them and say hello and give them hugs. But it was really interesting because I really did want to stream so you could see what the vendor hall looked like. I thought I could like do a walk around to the vendor hall so you could see it. But it's really bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's not just it is so bad. It is so bad being in the convention hall that when you want to text people to coordinate meeting up, you don't know if those texts are going to go through. So that is awkward. And you're like, oh, I could take pictures. Ooh. Don't be a terrible girlfriend, Grinny. You can lurk. I'm going to be reading at a nights, and perhaps you and your partner may guffaw at the misery of it, which could happen. Maybe not. Enjoy date night. Do your date night thing. That's all I'm saying. So what did I tell you? What I wanted to tell you was went to Los Angeles, and that was Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Saturday. After my stream, I went off and met with some friends, and we did a bit of a run through of Clockwork Dominion. Not the adventure that I'm going to run, but a different adventure. And that was really good. I realize what kind of things I want to use as handouts, if I want to give handouts to people, because I like to figure out, like, run through some things and think, oh, this is what I want a handout for. I also, in addition to sort of figuring out, like, oh, this is what I want to, this is what I want in a handout, I decided what I want on a GM screen, and I went and I bought, it's in the other room, I can't show you. I went and I bought a customizable GM screen, like a little GM screen that you can put in your own paper in. So I can basically, right, I can sort of I can just put up like the little charts that I think will be useful for me. I know some people don't like GM screens, or I don't know. I think people have different relationships to GM screens. Yeah, Iffy, by the way, Kulan says, Atlanta Nights, I've read undergrad essays which make it look like a masterpiece, and that is true. And Iffy says, I did not tell you that I was in LA, Iffy, because I basically had no time. I flew in, I spent all Sunday night doing research for the interview on Monday, and then I was in the interview all day Monday, and then I had to go to sleep because I had to wake up at 3 a.m. and fly back. So it was like a really tight moment that was super packed, and I'm so sorry but I will be going back to LA when I do, I will see you. Like, that is my goal. No, Iffy, no. I just didn't have the range. No, don't. If he's throwing themselves dramatically on the crying couch, and I am so sad. No, but I will see you, Iffy. I will see you. I want you to know it. I will see you, and then we will have like something delicious to eat. Maybe also donuts, because that is something that is important to me. Donuts. And ArcW says, it's being so hot here in Finland, they are promising 29 degrees Celsius for today. Ooh, no, that is too darn hot. Too darn hot. You know, Mr. Pants for romance is not, because it's too darn hot, is what I'm saying. Next time, Iffy. Next time. 36, no, those are not 36 degrees pH. That is not an appropriate temperature. It should not even be. Grinny says, I would bring her over, but we're so behind on shows that we can't afford to come hang out, but I'll turn down the volume enough so my lurking counts as a viewer. Thank you, Grinny. It is much appreciated. 38, what? Oh, Iffy knows a good place for glitter donuts, and they even put ice cream in them if you... Iffy, you're just telling me right now, here on chat, that you know a place for glitter donuts, and they will put ice cream in them if you want, and that is a place that I must find and must be at, and we must have donuts together, Iffy. This is a mandatory situation. Like, oh, and it's a small Latinx owned shop too. I have to go there. That sounds so good. Look, I have to tell you all, like, I'm gonna just say this, it's really, first off, 36 degrees Celsius, Krellin, inappropriate, 38, like, none of these are good temperatures. We shall. And I think I should be coming into LA pretty soon, so yes. And also, I'm probably gonna be asked to give a talk there sometime, maybe next year. Anyway, I'm gonna be there, and we're gonna have donuts. So here's what I have to tell you about donuts. For those of you who do not know, California is an amazing place for donuts. California has got so many little mom and pop donut shops, like these little corner donut shops. They're not big chains. They're just these little donut shops on the corners. And, you know, like Donut Happy Fun Time and whatever, all these just little places. And they are so good. They're so good. And I remember people would say things like, oh, Krispy Kreme. And I was like, oh, everyone talks about Krispy Kreme being so great. I tried one and I was like, oh, my friends, this cannot hold a candle to these little mom and pop donut shops, and Falcon knows, right? Falcon knows these chain shops they're just not as good. But these little places, and I'm telling you, I don't need like a hipster donut place. I'll go to a hipster donut place if there's a hipster donut place. That's cool. But like just these like run of the mill, average little mom and pop donut shops are so good. And I went and it was during the set, we were like, this really long day, and they were like, so like there's like a little bit lunch break, and I was like, let's get donuts. So I bring back like a dozen of donuts for everybody. And the donuts were so light. So like they weren't greasy, they weren't like heavy. They were just like, oh, it was so good. Yeah, Baron Torv, this is correct, right? I think that Krispy Kreme, they're okay. But they're not as good as local places, and I totally agree. Made in stores, best for both bagels and donuts. Yes. Oh, I love a good fresh bagel place as well. Yeah. Oh, our hipster donut place is called Rebel Donuts. Yeah, and I think there's Voodoo Donuts up in Portland or Seattle, maybe. So Iffy, there's a really interesting thing. Iffy says, traditionally, a lot of them are Asian family owned and run places. So I read this really interesting article in the LA Times about the pink donut boxes and the history of them. So in California, donut boxes are pink, right? And that has sort of spread. It hasn't spread everywhere, but like donut boxes are always pink. But they weren't always pink. Originally, donut boxes were white. In a lot of parts of the country, they're still white. And what happened was that a bunch of Vietnamese folks, left during the Vietnam War. Also, Cambodians left during that whole time period, right? They come to the U.S. And there was this one Asian guy who had a donut shop, had a couple donut shops, but he didn't want white donut boxes since white is not a lucky color. And so he wanted red donut boxes since red is this lucky color, but he couldn't actually get red. The box maker couldn't make red donut boxes, so made pink instead. And this becomes like this sort of from this one moment of wanting to have like a lucky box is where these sort of pink donut boxes come from, and they have spread since then, which I think is super exciting. And it is weird to see a not pink box for me too. I'm like, what is that? Mr. Awful McPherson says, we have one donut place to the city, I think. Really famous around here. Been around since the 20s or 30s. Ooh, what are the donuts like? I bet that's really exciting. Sorry, I think donuts are one of my favorite baked goods sweets. Like there's candy, which I think is different. So like I put candy in one category and then sort of baked goods in the other. And I think one of the reasons why I love donuts is because it's not a production. Like if you want cake or pie, like you got to slice the cake and then like you got to eat it with a fork and please note, I love cake and pie. I love it. But it like involves a little bit more production, but like a donut, you can just be like, I'm going to have a donut, and you have that one donut and it's delicious. I also love candy. Has anyone tried Monkey? It's kind of like a donut, but uses only regular flour and does not use creamer or baking powder. I have not had one, but that sounds really exciting and interesting, and I want to try it. I'm not aware of a hidden hole-in-the-wall donut place here. Oh, that's a bummer, Krellin. But if your Rebel Donuts is good, then that's exciting. Although I have to say, I was at one of our hipster donut places. We have a hipster donut place here in Mass. And I don't like it because the donuts are too big and they're too dense, and like they're just like too heavy. And I was like, I can't even eat this. Like, why are you like, you're giving me this donut that's too big, too dense, too heavy. It's a little bit oily. And like, it's like, but we're a hipster. And I was like, yeah, but your donut's not that great. Like it's very hipster and it's super expensive. But the donuts, it's just. Ours are still white, but we're mostly Swedes, so everything food related must be white. That is fair. That is fair, Jer. So like pie better than cake. Oh, you have Psycho Donuts. They do like mini gourmet donuts. Yeah. Like a lot of the hipster places will do the gourmet, and they're like, oh, I'm going to give you a donut with Captain Crunch on it. I'm going to give you a donut with bacon. I'm going to give you a donut with like the severed fingers of the dead. I don't know what else they put on their donuts. I don't know. My favorite donuts are the old-fashioned because you could eat the little nubby pieces and then the center ring, so it's like having 2 donuts. Iffy, that's exactly how I eat my old-fashioned donuts. I get the old-fashioned donut and I take off the little 3 outer nubs and then the center ring. That is exactly how I do it, and that's like the best. Oh God, we still laugh at Swedish vetekaka because it means poop of the waters in my mother tongue. I don't know what people put on their donuts when they're super hipster. Maybe they put the severed fingers of the dead. I don't know. Yeah, they do all those things, but they have normal size ones, but also make them in like donut size too. Oh, interesting. There was something I wanted to, oh, pie being better than cake. I don't know. I like pie and cake so much. Hipster necromancers. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna say. Oh, I do like a good bear claw. I love a good cinnamon roll. That's good. But I've been really enjoying like a good blueberry donut. But the best donut you can get in New England is the apple cider donut. That is like a fresh apple cider donut is so delicious. So pie with vanilla sauce. No, we're out of bear claws. So here's the question though. So I think the question of whether I like pie or cake better is very difficult, mainly because bad cake is really bad, right? Yeah, it depends, right? So like I find that bad pie is usually not as bad cake, but like a really good cake can be better than a really good pie. So for me, they kind of average out. They average out. No, bad cake is really bad, especially when like the frosting is like gross and waxy. Then I'm like, oh, I cannot even have this. I cannot even have this. Will you post it, Krellin? Will you post your eponymous song by Weird Al in our Discord? If I had the money, I set up a donut place here. Oh, Kulan, people would be so excited about a donut place where you're at. You should just think about it. You should think about it. Though Finnish pie is very different from American pie, it does not have a cover. Oh, Albuquerque. Rubbery bread cake. Oh, or super. For me, it also depends on the pie. A dessert pie like sweet mince or apple can be nice, but I do like a steak and kidney from well, be right. You're from the UK. You've got shepherd's pie. Shepherd's pie is so delicious. I like a shepherd's pie. I like a pot pie. I do like what you call them, savory pies. I do like savory pies. They're delish. I will enjoy a pie. And Levi just sums up the whole point. Food is good. And this is true. This is true. I do enjoy that. We have an Irish bar near me that has a shepherd's pie, and sometimes I'll just go there and get their shepherd's pie because it's a pie with mashed potatoes. Who doesn't want that? Like that is. I really like a good. I like a peach pie. That's delish. I do like a pumpkin pie. Oh, I've had pumpkin pie. Like, oh. I got to see the first time we ever performed this song live. Oh, that is so cool, Krellin. Weird Al is good. Weird Al is good. So, gang, we're going to read some Atlanta Nights right now because we don't have a lot of time before we move over to Gamer Story. So I want us to get some Atlanta Nights in. Oh, a peach pie. Oh, I love a good peach pie. Oh, so good. A peach pie, oh, okay, so in Germany, there is they have a dish called Zwetschgendatschi, and Zwetschgendatschi is specific to Augsburg, which is the town that I lived in, and it's not, it's tricky what it is. Oh, the outside the pie is like candy. Ooh. I made an apple butter pumpkin pie for years now. Ooh, that sounds amazing. Come on to my house, come on. Come on to my house, I'm gonna give you candy. Come on to my house, I'm gonna give you everything. Thank you for the host, Crit Witch. Welcome in. We're about to start Atlanta Nights. We're talking about pie, though, and how delicious pie is. What? The name game. Come on, everybody. I said, now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name, I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F or an M will appear. And then I say Bo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fanner, and foe. And then I say the name again with an F, very plain, then a fee, fi, and a mo. And then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. Crit witch, bo bit witch, banana, fanna, fo fit witch, fee, fi, mo, mit witch. Crit witch. Team distraction. Thank you so much. 25 months of all of the singing, and I'm going to point out, in all those 25 months, knock on wood, I have never slipped with your name in the name game, Crit Witch. I'm going to just point it out. That's what I'm going to say. It's actually Crit Twitch. Oh. Crit Twitch, bo bit witch, banana fanna fo fit twitch, fee fi mo mit twitch, quit twitch, crit twitch, bo bit twitch, banana fanna fo fit twitch, fee fi mo mit twitch, crit twitch, crit twitch, crit twitch, crit twitch, crit twitch, crit twitch. Crit twitch. You got to do a little to get it. You want me to say Brit Twitch, but when they do Fred, Wait. But if the first two letters are ever the same, you drop them both and say the name like Bob. Bob drop the B's, Bo, Ob, or Fred. Fred drop the F's, Fo, Red, or Mary. Mary drop the M's, Mo, Airy. That's the only rule that is contrary. Okay, everybody say Bo. Bo, now turn to the B. Boney, banana, fanna, fo. Banana, fanna, fo. Brit and Frit are easy. See, when it's two letters, when it's like a fra or a cha, I just drop them both, then say the name. Because I feel like Fred. See, I would say Fred, bo bed, banana, fanna, fo, red, fee, fi, mo, med. Because red, like, that's no good. Girl, I think we maybe you did break me. The thing is to get crit twitch, you're gonna have to do like a little like stutter right in between the two, and get that like. But I think it's doable. I think it's happening. It's possible. But now it's like a little hidden syncopated beat. Crit witch, bo bit witch, banana fanna fo fit witch, fee fi mo mit witch. No, I did it again. Crit twitch, bo bit twitch, banana fanna fo fit twitch, fee fi mo mit twitch, crit twitch. Yes. Okay. Chapter 12, Atlanta Nights. For those who do not know, this is a novel written to be terrible on purpose by a bunch of sci-fi fantasy authors who wanted to expose a publication house that said that it was very exclusive for being a predatory press. And this is chapter 12. We read chapter 12 last week, but this is a second chapter 12 because there's more than one chapter 12. I know, I do. I like the added rhythm. So next month, Crit Twitch, I'm gonna, if you resub, I'm gonna get it in there. I don't know if they skipped 13. We'll find out when we get to 13, I suppose. No, there's a chapter 13. So there's just two 12s. That's all. There's two 12s and a 13. So The reception was a disaster for Caillie from the moment she stepped into the hall. Clearly famished from weeks of living on Xenadrin and Diet Pepsi, she made a beeline for the appetizers. The Swedish meatballs were obviously the most fatty thing on the table. To her dilated pupils, those little red-tinged morsels of mad cow must have looked like manna in the making. But as soon as she picked up a tasseled toothpick, the damn meatball launched itself off the stick and made its sticky, greasy, ambling way down the corset of her Vera Wang bridal gown, all over the hand-crocheted tulle, and splattered its death throes on the open toe of her Jimmy Choo shoes. The bride backed away from the table, letting out a strangled gurgle and waving her French manicured fingers in the air. She began hyperventilating. A cadre of caterers descended upon her, seltzer, bleach linen napkins, and industrial-strength cleansers at the ready. Those wedding pictures were going to have to be photoshopped for days to make that dress ever look ivory again. Right? This is all about the exciting mental graphics. I backed up, trying to hide the fact that I was laughing so hard I was afraid I was going to spray shrimp cocktail all over my Manolo Blahniks. Of course, I backed right into Richard Isaacs. It's the most epic description of dropping food ever. Who is speaking? We hadn't said 3 words to each other at the church, but I immediately spotted him here. His Armani suit was so sharply pressed, I imagined you could cut cheese with the creases. It's Richard Isaacs. Being a stock manipulator and a police stoolie, so apparently people know that he's not only a stock manipulator, but also a police stoolie. He'd probably stolen more cheeses than he'd cut. Still, it was hard to ignore his ruddy good looks. I knew he had a yacht anchored on the Outer Banks, and his aftershave helped his allure by retaining a hint of sea air. The blue in his Ralph Lauren tie made his eyes seem more piercing, and the gray encroaching around his temples had yet to establish a firm beachhead on the rest of his scalp. Maybe she did. I don't know. Dropping food on stream. Maybe she read the book. She was inspired by the way that food gets dropped on stream, and that's what she's doing. I think it's possible. I feel like I should also just copy these 2 paragraphs and then send them to Lauren so that she knows that somebody's, talking about dropping food. Just, Ivan, he said in a gravelly voice that hinted of a 2-pack-a-day habit only recently dropped. I was hoping I would bump into you. Rub up against me was more like it. He hadn't moved. Oh, this is Yvonne Perrin. Yvonne Perrin is the slightly older rich woman who drinks too much. He hadn't moved more than a millimeter since my well-toned derriere had grazed his hip. We both watched in silent amusement as Callie's groom, Bruce, forced his way through the sea of starch aprons to comfort his fainting flower of a bride. Wait a minute! Bruce Lucent is marrying Caillie Archer? But what about Penelope Urbain? What? I don't even know what we're gonna... Okay, well... I don't even know what what do we say about this? Is this even gonna be a thing after this chapter? I don't even know. I mean, I know they were talking about having a merger, but now they're getting married? I don't even know. Now, Bruce, I heard the frail flower snap. You just go away and let these professionals do their work. Go get my Aunt Eustace from some champagne. And my is spelled M-A-H, by the way. Dutifully, Bruce left Caillie to her staff and went to get some liquor for Aunt Eustace. I suppose marriage is a merger of some sort? Echoing what I was thinking, Richard whispered, Do you think she sent him to the oldest, ugliest broad here because she's already afraid of comparisons to younger, prettier company? Here he patted me on my back as if to let me know who the younger, pretty company was. Married men need a wife before they can have a girlfriend. Fair. Now, Callie's only got maybe 5 years on me, and I know for a fact that she's still got all her natural software, and she keeps it in good shape at the gym. Being a lady, I would never mention some of her other habits. Besides, What's a little Botox between us girls? Still, I was flattered that Richard would include me with the younger set. Considering Caillie was totally robbing the cradle, marrying dear little Bruce, for God's sake, she's old enough to be his mother. Although I think she wasn't at one point in time. Like, how old Caillie Archer is really varies a lot in this book. This is, I don't know. PH says, she keeps her software at the gym? Oh, her body. Gotcha. Burn this book, burn it with fire. Merger equals sex. But also, again, like, how old is she? Is she 20? Is she 40? It's really unclear. It is really unclear. I was enjoying Richard's attention. Of course, he's old enough to be my father, but let's just say I like them with a little steel in their girders. Plus, he still has shoulders you could hang a lion off of. I decided to go for the gusto. So, Richard, I said, think you can help me with a little problem I'm having? There's some missing quotation marks. Richard backed up a few inches. What did he think I was going to ask him for? Help with insurance? Stock tips? What to do about some incorrigible STDs? She's 16 years older than Bruce, technically old enough to be his mother, not so much older as to be super scandalous. That's fair. I don't even know what it means, Critwitch. I don't even know what it means. I lost my navel ring somewhere over by the gift table. I was hoping you could help me look for it. His eyes lit up with a predatory gleam. I hoped it wasn't just the idea of finding gold. I planned to have him panning for more than a little circle. I was looking for the big O myself. Atlanta Knights, I hate you, and you don't have the range. Doesn't even have the range. Doesn't have the range. Over at the gift table, I did a full bend over to scan the floor. From his position, I was sure he couldn't miss a good gander at my leopard thong. It didn't really go with the fuchsia bridesmaid's confection I was stuck in, but I felt it add a little je ne sais quoi to a rather dowdy outfit. Besides, it set off my auburn tresses better than fuchsia, because everybody is a redhead. Fuchsia, for God's sake. Caillie wasn't being shy about trying to make us all us other girls look bad. Super classy, Kulan. But back to my prey. It's just a little old navel ring with an emerald on it. I heard it go clink when I dropped Callie's gift off. I felt I needed some fortification before hunting under the table for it. Here, I raised my glass of Vieux Clicquot, and he gallantly clicked his baccarat crystal against mine. Care to help me look? I asked, straight ending up and giving him the benefit of my fully bleached smile. Straightening up. There's a hyphen that doesn't make any sense. He gave me a frank, appraising stare. At least I hoped the stare was for me. He could have been tallying up how much silver and how many checks there were lying on that big round table, but I suspected he thought my thong was more enticing. Yeah, it's only in the first person right now. Like, only this chapter is in the first person. You know, first person, third person. Who needs to be consistent in this book? And PH, there's so many brand names. So many brand names. Coming? I asked, holding up a corner of the tablecloth. Taking a quick glance around the room, I saw that only a bemused waiter who was holding his champagne bottle at the ready was watching us. All the other guests were too involved with the dress drama to give our portion of the room a gander. Without looking to see if he would follow, I crawled under the table. Critwitch does not even have an emote for this feeling. Right. Fortunately, the cream carpeting was very thick. Now I'd see what he was made of. If he was as stuffed as his shirt, he would probably beat a quick retreat from such a silly situation. I held my breath for a few moments. Just as I was starting to feel really foolish, I heard him enter our little domain from the rear. He was awkwardly clutching a nearly full bottle of champagne. Yes, name-dropping, Carlin says, name-dropping brands is how you know this is a pretentious rich person, or a person who has no idea what rich people even do. Gander is a social construct. Oh, that's a good one, PH. Ambivalence runs strong in this one. I brought reinforcements, he said, as he poured more bubbly into my glass, in case we get stuck here for a while and need to fortify ourselves for the search. A man after my own heart, all ready to liquor up for love. We clinked glasses again. Now, what exactly are we looking for? He asked with a grin. Nobody knows how any of this works. Oh, just a little golden O, I say. It's got a bit of a green emerald, just like my eyes. I batted my eyelashes at him, in case he had somehow failed to notice my startling, beautiful color. Also, Yvonne Perrin is old and not whatever. Encouraged by his attention, I continued. First we pat the rug, I say, kicking off my slingbacks. I run my feet seductively over the carpet and all around his pant leg. Ducks are a social construct. To his credit, Richard immediately took off his shoes and socks and began running his toes through the lush carpeting. So, what do we do when this doesn't work? He asked. Well, we can start crawling around looking for it on our hands and knees, I say, taking care not to bump my head on the bottom of the table. I yet again favored him with a view of my pert derriere. Leaving his shoes behind, he clambered onto his own hands and knees and followed me around. Looking up for love sounds like a receipt for non-consensual sex, or really sloppy drunk sex, which is probably not even very good. And this is really bad flirting, like they're crawling around under a table. Ooh, I say, feel here. I move his hand just over my knee. Is that something we should be looking into further? I asked. I don't know, he responds, fondling my knee in earnest. Let me see if I can find the gold. In a move I would think was practiced, if not for the awkward angles we were at, which keep our head from bopping the table, he swiftly climbs over me and shoves his knees up between my legs. Let me see what I can feel, he whispers, moving his hands up from my knees toward over my hips, then my tummy, then come to rest on the points of my push-up bra. The gold is in her knee. Oh, gremlins too. He rubs his fingers in concentric circles around my breasts. I haven't had such a thorough feel since my last gyno exam. And Richard's hands are mercifully warm. His tongue reaches up to caress my ear. I can feel him nibble around the diamonds in my lobe. Unable to resist, I say, but what about my navel ring? One hand leaves my breast and tries to find a way to enter my skin-tight dress. When he can't find an easy entry, he reaches up the skirt and pinches my belly button. Well, belly button. That's fine, apparently. Your navel feels perfect without ornamentation, he whispers breathily in my ear. But for engineering this rather unique experience, I promise to take you to Tiffany's, where you can pick out the emerald of your choice. Unless... And here he pushes his bum into the rug, leaning his full weight against me, so I can now feel how ready he is for an adventure. Unless, he says again, you want to roll around some more and see what we can find. I struggle slightly, wondering when I lost the upper hand in this seduction. My foot hits the champagne bottle and cold bubbly spills over, adding a tingly sensation to my toes. Yeah, Levi's like, pinch your belly button. What? And then Krillin's like, I didn't know women find their gyno exam sexy. And people are like, what is happening? Kulan says, but this makes me feel far more confident in my abilities. Yes, it should. It really should. As his hand has now slipped from my navel to my love shack, I'm in no position to do more than wiggle. I have to muffle my moans by biting down hard on his tie, because all around us I hear guests returning to the room. His hand moves inside of me with the skill of many years of experience. This is why I like men with a little steel in their girders, I think. None of these pretty boys of Callie's will ever know how to do this so quickly or so well. The band finally stops playing that insipid butterfly kisses. Trust Callie to choose something so banal, and it moves on to the Stones. Richard seems more than ready to pump me up. He moved his hand from my boob, and we were so close I could feel the tension of the teeth as his zipper slowly uncoiled. When I felt his muscle move against me, I realized he had been going commando. I got wet just thinking about it. Proving how strong he was, he snapped the reinforced laced waistband on my thong one-handed. As I felt his missile seeking my silo with all the power of American know-how behind it, I readied for the first strike. I feel like the word turgid should be in it, but instead we get the most amazing line ever. As I felt his missile seeking my silo with all the power of American know-how behind it, I readied for the first strike. All of a sudden, I saw the unmistakably cheap shoes of the champagne-toting waiter appear inches from my nose. There was a soft knock on the table over my head. "Cheese it! The jig is up," I heard the waiter say. "Your champagne is soaked into the tablecloth, and they're bringing a new one over before all the gifts get wet." I moaned with frustration and rolled my hips, trying to get a taste of Nirvana before the world could stop my fun. But Richard was already rolling over and zipping up. "Another time, ma chérie," he said. Without even a final kiss, he was gone. Ooh, he'll pay for that, I thought. And gathering up my thong, along with the scattered threads of my dignity, I prepared to dance my ass off for the rest of the night. So, apparently no sex happened. No sex happened. None. I do believe we will be able to get chapter 13 in, though, before we switch over to Gamer Stories. Chapter 13. The Atlanta rain came down hard and glitzy blue and transparent in a gorgeous murky haze over the bustling city as the popular and highly exclusive cafe reposed in its cozy yet diffidently a corner nest along the posh avenue lined with trees and littered with pedestrians and people walking and their various and sun-dried pets. Sun-dried pets. I think they mean sundry. Also why? Just 2 chapters, Krellin, just 2. They sat at a table near the window, watching the traffic and the gentle yet soothing pitter-patter of the little feet that sounded in their earlobes, but that was the purity of the rain. Rain soothed and made gently the soul's musing. Isidore Trent lazily perused the menu of this trendy place, filled with extravagantly outrageous and overpriced items, such as foie gras and pâté. Curlin says, "I spent all day reading a Warhammer 40k novel that was basically just a list of Imperial armaments, and it was better than this." This is fair. I'd nominate Trooper for an OBE. Thank you. I would love to have an OBE for my dramatic readings of Atlanta Nights. That would be the best OBE ever. And then I could be Sir Trooper, and I would love it. The wine list alone made his pocketbook shudder with delicacy. But of course he pretended he could afford it all and more, and then he merely put down the menu with a sniffling disdain and addressed the companions across the table from him. "What a great lunch, eh, Isaac? What will you be having?" "Not sure yet," replied... Oh, I forgot that Isidore has a southern accent. "Not sure yet," replied Isaac Stevens, the older man, hair close-trimmed and distinctive, and beard pepper and salt imposing, and gave a satisfied smirk and a wink. "I'd think I'd like to watch the scenery first. I know how you and Bruce Lucent love this kind of thing, too. Young ruddy fellows that you are." And he motioned with a brave and subtle rotation of his steady eyes, not toward the rainy window, but at the passing buxom and slender waitresses and well-dressed young women being seated a little table away from them, 2 tables down. His eyes were visibly popping with sensual overloads. Oh, no. I got this new desktop Twitter interface. Yeah, the new Twitter interface is... I feel like the new Twitter interface is sort of like Atlanta Nights. I think it's, I think they have some things in common. People seem to respond to them in similar ways. They really like them, except that's not the worst. They don't like them. Right? It is. Yes, keep looking, old man, said Henry Archer in the empty seat next to them. Only Isidore could hear that voice, ringing like a bell of the Notre Dame Cathedral in his mind, and resounding in the dinnerware, and rebounding in the cutlery and the window glass, for Henry Archer was dead and buried. His post-accident twisted body rotting in his resplendent grave, for he could definitely afford it, and his wife Caillie, who'd inherited his millions, was just decent enough to respect his last wishes regarding his own corpse of his very self. Caillie, the frigid socialite arrogant woman. "How is business, or should I even ask?" said Isidore, with his red hair pulled back in a casual yet stylish ponytail, hard-bodied and gushing sex appeal as only a 20-year-old young man could, in his very prime of existence and radical experience of life. He had no need to stare at the women passing by because they continuously stared at him, watched his red-headed, careless macho, yet a sensitive ponytail, his rippling muscles concealed under neat, casual wear. He drew them like a magnet drew hungry flies. Magnets don't draw flies. Krellin says, "Dear people in this Forsaken novel, please stop being redheads, stop." And I don't know what sort of 20-year-old this is. "That's what you think they are," said Henry Archer, the eternal voices in his very mind. "But you are not, you know. You are not. Not ever." I don't know what that means. The rain continued to beat down, first patter, then come down in drizzles, and for a moment, Isidore was distracted enough by the eternal rhythmic sound to gaze outside the window and just look at the sublime incandescent beauty of the city nature flourishing before him. Weeping, crying haze and silvery shadows stood leaning in the air before the window. A young passerby woman paused, leaning to pick up a bag that fell into the puddle, and for a moment she reminded him of Irene, with her long blonde hair and voluptuous straining body. Oh, so a ripe acacia fragment mouth. I don't even know what that means. I love gingers. An entire novel of them freaks me out. Krellin love gingers, but like an entire novel, you're like, what is this? What is this place? "Yes, she was a hot number, that one," mused Henry Archer, ghostly and virile just before his ear. Why is Isidore hearing the ghost of Henry Archer? "Hush, bastard, you devil," Isidore wanted to say, but couldn't, because Irene's father, Isaac Stevens, would think he mad. Or worse, he would begin to suspect. Irene was there in his mind, and so was Henry Archer, who grinned in his suave manner, once again reminding, by his confident glossy white teeth, why her had been his willing mistress and lover. It's set, of course, it's set in Atlanta. Ginger Town, Atlanta, Ireland. I'm worried. I'm a little worried about Isidore right now. That's all. And also grammar. "There is the matter of Richard Isaacs, of course," said Isaac, suddenly and quietly through the sedate thicket of his distinctive beard, putting down the menu on top of the plate and inadvertently making the water glass clank gently and ricochet merrily against the salad fork. "Yes, I know." The rain pitter-pattered, and there was silence in the noisy cafe. Or maybe in their minds. Silence. Noisy cafe noise. Moments later, their young strawberry auburn-headed waitress attended them with a pleasing, winsome grin full of healthy teeth and gums. Her generous bosom swept forward in her tight-fitting blouse, unbuttoned precariously, and yet full of devious intent to reveal the tender, rosy, heaving flesh under the starched, straining cotton. I love the fork salad. It's my favorite salad as well. Mr. Awful McPherson says, "Too much description, a sentence I thought I would never utter." Right? "What may I get you, gentlemen?" she said in a honey-pert voice, a flash of white pearly teeth in a face of unusual refinement for such a creature. What was she doing here, spelled incorrectly, in this seething and empties a trendy morass of human dross and raging worldly clamor? Mused Isidore to himself. "She's another unfortunate, probably alone in the world and needing to pay her way in the world of men. She may be writing a novel in secret, and I know her kind." And he had an immediate need to comfort and console her, and felt a pang of desire in his southern regions of the hard young body. "Give us another minute, honey, will ya?" said Isaac, grinning at the waitress and winking gently like an older man who is respectable, no doubt, yet has spent a wild youth sowing his wild oats and a bit of wheat and barley, too. Would you like some more water, sir?" said the nubile waitress, addressing Isaac. But Isidore felt her posture straining towards him, like Jack toward the beanstalk of his dreams. He could almost read her eagerness to serve him, not the other. The world narrowed and spun, then receded like the glory of the outer rain and inner worldliness. Silence. And moments of pitter-patter. "You're the one with the sex death wish," hissed Henry Archer in his ghostly presence, permeating the room. No, Atlanta Nights, was created to be the worst novel ever by a bunch of science fiction and fantasy authors who all wrote different, like 2 chapters apiece, but then they didn't know which order the chapters were going to be in, and they didn't know what each other was doing, to try to make the worst novel possible so they could expose this sort of scam publishing company. And it is now... does the genre of the book change every chapter? Maybe. Sex, Death Wish is where the movies really went off the rails. It's true, Charles Bronson was really bad in Sex, Death Wish. It was super bad. Just look at her. You know she wants you. They all want you, except Irene. You could never have her, because she will always be mine. She cannot ever forget my youthful bodybuilder physique, the firmness and the rock hardness of me, the only things that would satisfy. Her father does not know that his sweet innocent Irene was a wildcat in my bed. I could always make her mew, and to my musical key, none other. She purred for me like a bobcat kitten before it became fully grown, gained poundage and muscle bulk, and discovered other wildlife of its kind and ilk. Vibrant, innocent but sensual purring, ever purring for me she was. Actually, I think I'm ready to order now, said Isidore, firmly ignoring it all, flipping back his red forelocks out of his face and beyond the back to where the bulk of the abundant and suggestive ponytail rested against his wide, strongly, utterly virile back. A back that could do the beast with 2 backs so well when one of the 2 backs came into question and under scrutiny, but the other back, of course, depended on the woman writhing with him, under him, and on top of him. Ah, the beasts they would make. I say this with the utmost seriousness that I urge you to believe, because I cannot currently do so physically. I want to plunge a kitchen knife into this book repeatedly until it ceases to be. I learned so much about life from this book. There's probably a person who was writing a novel called Atlanta Nights and probably was actually good, but now their dreams are dead. That actually might be true. That's probably true. He ignored the voice of Henry Archer and the ghostly, vacant, and evacuated presence among them, and concentrated on thoughts of lunch and thoughts of Richard Isaacs, while retracting and folding away all distracting thoughts, such as Irene's blonde fairness, to the back of his subconscious mentality. We really should talk to Richard about his behavior, said Isaac's low baritone, while the waitress deftly and smoothly poured water over his shoulder into Isidore's glass, and then Isaac's glass. Her bosom was almost spilling outside of the depth of her cleavage, and the depth of her cleavage was undeniable, like the depths of the liquid in the clear, cool jug, and the profundity of the dripping rain outside. Miss DeYoung says, this reminds me of a novel from the 60s called Naked Came the Stranger. It was just as incomprehensible and sex-filled. I should probably read that, because I bet it's also not great, and I'm excited about that. Isidore visibly forced himself to unglue his eyes from the panorama of mummeries and femininity and said, I will have the lightly braised spring lamb au jus and a vinaigrette au coeur. Would you like soup or salad? Said the waitress in a breathless soprano. Sorry, would you like soup or salad? Said the waitress in a breathless soprano. Her impressive mammary watch was inches away from Isaac's distinctive bearded face. Tripper, your love of bad things worries me. You know, sometimes. Salad, please. And what kind of dressing do you have? Said Isidore, lifting his sensual, narrowed eyes from his table setting and allowing them free rein and bounce over her lovely face. We have French, Italian, sun-ripe tomato, and avocado. 1,000 Islands, honey mustard, low-cal French, low-cal Italian, low-cal Thousand Island, Oriental Thai oregano, and a house dressing with secret ingredients, which I highly recommend. Go ahead, order the French, mocked Henry Archer. You know Irene's French kisses were sublime, and yes, I tasted them repeatedly and dolefully. Ooh, Plan 9 from outer space. Yes. Low-cal Italian, said Isidore, never blinking, yet narrowing his eyes and then widening them in involuntarily but firm pupil dilation and watching the wavelength and frequency of her eyes so that the waitress was the first one to blink away. But she heaved her chest in an automotive reflex that was not to be denied. As I was saying, Richard has gone too far at this point, interjected Isaac Stevens, pulling down the white linen napkin, sterile like Caillie Archer, yet pure like Irene Stevens on his lap. I saw him the other day at the racket club, and he looked pale and just sick with exhaustion. Wonder what the matter is this time. The waitress jotted down Isidore's order, then looked at Isaac with the patience of a saint who has to work the tables in order to support a family and possibly just writing habits, not to mention pay bills and federal taxes. So no killer clowns. It's no killer clowns from outer space. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes? Yeah, automotive reflex, like she's a car. That's, yeah, I'm working really hard to be very precise in my reading so that when you hear things that sound like I'm messing up, you know it is the book messing up. Isidore picked up his water glass ruefully, considering what was within, a cousin of the rain pattering on the window, and drew the parallel between the microcosm in the glass and the macrocosmos outside. No one is pure, not even the rain, said Henry Archer's hateful, ghostly voice. Isidore's fingers shook so that in the moment he spilled some of the cool and refreshing, once tap but now double-filtered contents of the glass, just droplets of a mountain spring purity, onto his shirt. Ah! Isidore exclaimed, and grabbed a napkin to dab at his shirt in some confusion, while Isaac and the waitress, and the whole restaurant, and possibly the whole world stared at him, and the moment extended itself into eternity, and then redoubled upon itself like the emulsifying and moisturizing nature of the rain. In the empty seat across the table, Henry Archer cackled like an evil genie without a bottle to return to, nor needing one, since he was fully dead, and Isidore could make himself believe it at long last. His spirit and consciousness hung boldly in the air while the rain outside continued to come down in the greatest flood. And Isidore suddenly felt himself refreshed and free of shame and guilt and able to speak at last. He opened his mouth, cleared his throat, swallowed the past, digested the moment, and started to honestly speak to Isaac Stevens about Richard Isaacs. In the deepest closet back of his mind, however, there will always be the rain. And Irene with her raining liquid blonde hair, the complex daughter of his lunch companion and confidant. The rain came down. Oh, joyous, yet serene, emancipated rain. And that is the end of chapter 13. That is the end of chapter 13. Bearter says, this is better with beer. And I think it is, yeah. Mr. Awful McPerson says, listening to this novel should have been Ezra Pound's Punishment, which would have been awesome. Ruefully picking up a glass, it is impressive. It is so absurdly detailed, says Barentor, that you lose track of what's going on, and that is true. Like I'm trying to sup famalama ding dongs. How are you doing? That thing you like. We're gonna head over to. We just finished reading Atlanta Night, so I'm afraid you missed some of it. But we're gonna head over to Gamer Stories, and we're gonna interview Paladin Hulk, who is here in the chat, and we're gonna interview him. I hope you enjoyed those two chapters of Atlanta Nights, which were, of course, brilliant, and made with all of the details. I mean, I really think about the deepness of the rain. Also, in case you want to know, we're going to see Penelope Urbain again in the next chapter. So that's exciting. Bell Labs followed up the Unix operating system with one called Plan 9 from Bell Labs. Baratoy, Crone's like, I endured them. Enjoyed. Brilliant is a way to put it. Yes, indeed. All right, so here's what's going to happen, y'all. I'm going to go to the break screen so I can send PH the Zoom link and I'm set up the overlay for him. And then we will be back with Gamer Stories, where we're going to talk about, we're going to learn Paladin Hulk's gamer stories. And we're going to find out about gaming in the Netherlands and life. It's going to be really, really good. So give me like 5 or so minutes while we do the setup and we will be back. Drink some beverage. Maybe what you should do is you should drink some emulsifying and emancipated water that is the microcosm for the macrocosmos that is the rain in your soul.